Mercedes recently brought in a more affordable variant of the popular G-Class, and for the first time in India, it wears a G350 badge. Despite being the base variant, it's priced at an insane 1.5 crore rupees. With that kind of money, you could easily get something that makes twice the amount of power, isn't designed with a ruler, and it's extremely easy to manage. And if I were to compare it with its performance sibling AMG, this one makes half the power and weighs almost as much. Why then should you buy the 350d? What classifies as a good design is extremely personal, and yet if you have millions over the world drooling over it, you know your design is right on the money. The G-Wagon is far from being glamorous and elegant as Pluto is from Earth, but it is brawny, and therein lies its beauty. This 2019 iteration is the biggest update the G-Wagon has received since its inception 4 decades ago, and it is still not out of the box, and we mean that quite literally. The G's boxy design cues give it an imposing stance, something that goes very well with its go-anywhere ability. Even with all the updates that it has received over the years, the G-Wagon gleams in its old world charm. The exposed hinges, turn indicators on the fenders, door handles, tailgate-mounted spare wheel, and the rectangular glass house are all a nod to the G-Class of the year. Although from the outside, the G350d continues to flaunt the retro design cues of the original G-Wagon, the interior is ultra-modern. Like some of the new-age Mercedes-Benz cars, it also gets 2 large screens, one for the infotainment and the other for the instrument cluster. That being said, it's great to see that the German car maker hasn't succumbed to the pressure of replacing the aircon controls with a screen too. The stubby dashboard ensures that the front seats are closer to the windscreen. Thanks to a ground clearance of 241 mm, the seating is pretty high off the ground. Sure, it makes ingress and egress a difficult exercise, but at the same time, it ensures that the driver has a good view from behind the wheel. The G350d is 4606 mm in length, excluding the tailgate-mounted spare wheel, which makes it shorter than even the C-Class, even though it doesn't give you that impression. In fact, the 2890mm wheelbase of the G is just 50mm more than that of the C. With that in mind, space in the rear seat is plenty. It may not be as spacious as the Buckingham Palace, but it's certainly not as cramped as a Mumbai apartment. Providing firepower to the G350d is an inline 6-cylinder 3-litre diesel motor. Now this one is the same one that does duty on the S-Class as well. It makes a little north of 280 horsepower. Now that may not seem a lot, especially given that its AMG counterpart makes twice that much. But we've been driving it over the past 2 days and we are happy to report that it feels adequate if not abundant. The G350d may not have great power to weight ratio, but it does have 600 Nm of torque, which makes it exceptionally drivable. It doesn't quite push you back into the seat under hard acceleration, but the way it just goes forward will genuinely take you by surprise. Mercedes-Benz claims that this one does the 0 to 100 dash in 7.4 seconds, and that is quite impressive considering its size and proportions. What's not so impressive is its top whack of 199 kmph. That being said, out on the highway, we found it a lot more enjoyable to cruise as opposed to push it to its limit. Coming to the highway manners, the G350d feels extremely smooth. Considering its upright design, we were expecting some amount of wind noise, but the silence inside the cabin, even at high speeds, was indeed a pleasant surprise. When I first drove the new G63 AMG, I was somewhat displeased. Given its performance aspirations, it was insanely stiff for public roads. Not something that gels well with an SUV with go-anywhere capabilities. The G350d, however, is quite the antithesis of that, and I just love it. Ride quality is simply remarkable. Cracks, undulations, and potholes of all sizes are tackled with incredible poise. It can make the worst of roads feel like the German Autobahn. It's that impressive. In terms of handling too, the G350d fares quite well, especially given its high center of gravity and its ladder frame underpinnings. Of course, it isn't as flat as some of the performance sedans you can get at the same price, but it isn't fair to expect that kind of handling either. The G-Wagon does, however, feel planted at high speeds. The quick and precise steering wheel further aids in carving a clean line in and out of a corner. However, feedback could have been a little bit better. The G that we got our hands on was fitted with the optional 20-inch wheels with 275/50 section rubber. Pirelli Scorpion Zero tires perform well on the road, but being tarmac focused, they may not be the best bet for off-road duties. The G-Class has been designed to be driven on surfaces that you'd never think a car can conquer, and it has the credentials to do it all. Aside from the 214mm ground clearance, it has a 30.9-degree approach angle, 29.9-degree departure angle, and a 23.5-degree breakover angle. Its fantastic 700mm of wading depth is just what you need to tackle Mumbai in the monsoon. The icing on the cake, however, is the low-ratio gearbox and 3 diff locks, front, rear, and center. Although we didn't get a chance to thoroughly test the off-road prowess of the G-Wagon, we did attempt to climb a hill at a shoot location. And believe me, it was an absolute walk in the park. In fact, it's one of the few luxury cars that I wouldn't think twice before taking off-road. Although the G350d has everything that you would expect from a car that bears a 1.5 crore price tag, it isn't a car that will appeal to everyone. It has a refined motor, comes packed with a wagon load of features, and is extremely practical too. Above all, it's a car that's capable of forging its own path from where the tarmac ends. True, it isn't as fast as some of the other cars that you can get your hands on with that kind of money. But you don't enter a Mercedes showroom looking at a G-Wagon when performance is at the top of your priority list. Also true is that it has the charm to sweep you off your feet and leave you spellbound. And it'll do anything that you ask from it.